Hey, deep divers. So this week we're switching things up a bit.
Oh,
Yeah, we're taking a deep dive into Istanbul.
oh wow.
Yeah, and this one's actually direct response to all of you.
Really?
Yeah, we got tons of requests to cover Istanbul, so
Oh, okay.
here we are.
Istanbul. Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is magical.
yeah, and it's you know, I think a lot of people maybe just think of it as like a quick layover city,
Right.
but it's like so much more.
It's so much more.
Yeah, so right.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, when you think about it, it's like the crossroads of like the Byzantines and Ottoman empires,
Mm.
and all that history is just like baked into the city.
Right. It's a city that sort of straddles two continents.
Right.
It's where east meets west, and that's reflected in every single aspect of the city.
Yeah, so it's like this blend of like ancient history and modern like energy, right?
Exactly. It has this really unique cultural identity, sort of traditional and modern all at once.
Yeah, and you could like, I mean, just thinking about it, you could be walking past like, a 1500-year-old aqueduct
All right.
and then like duck into like a bustling market, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Like it's that kind of energy, you
Yeah,
know?
and that energy is contagious. When you're there, you feel it.
Yeah. And speaking of like iconic landmarks,
Yeah.
you can't like talk about Istanbul without mentioning the Hagia Sophia,
Oh, absolutely not.
which has been like what, a mosque, a church,
A museum.
a museum over the years.
Yeah, talk about layers of history, right?
Okay, so walk me through that because like that's something that's always
Yeah.
like I have to wrap my head around it. You know what I mean? Like how can one building be all of those things?
Well, and that's precisely what makes it so fascinating,
Yeah.
right? It's like this physical manifestation of the passage of time and the ebb and flow of civilizations. It was originally built as a cathedral
Okay.
by the Byzantine Emperor Justinian in the 6th century.
Okay.
Then it was converted into a mosque after the Ottoman conquest in the 15th century. And then it was a museum, like you said, for much of the 20th century before recently being converted back into a mosque.
Wow. So it's like you're like literally walking through those layers of history. Huh?
Yeah, and you can see it in the architecture. You've got the Byzantine mosaics, the Islamic calligraphy, it's all there coexisting in this really remarkable way.
That's incredible.
It's a must see, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm sold, right? Like I've got to get to Istanbul. But logistically,
Yeah.
it's a big city.
It's a big city.
How easy is it to actually get around like once I'm there?
That's actually one of the things that surprised me the most. It's incredibly easy to get around.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The public transportation system is amazing. It's efficient. It's affordable. They have this great system, the Istanbul cart. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is though.
So it's basically a reloadable card that you can use on all forms of public transportation.
Oh, nice.
Buses, trams, ferries, the metro. So you don't have to worry about buying individual tickets all the time.
Ferries.
Yeah.
Wait, so you can take a ferry
Oh, yeah.
like across the Bosphorus?
Absolutely. The Bosphorus Strait divides the city, right?
Right,
You
right.
have the European side and the Asian side.
Right.
And the ferries are a fantastic way to get between them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's beautiful, too. You get these incredible views of the city from the water.
Okay, now that's something I'd be into.
Right.
Because I love like when I travel, like I want to experience the city like a local, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it sounds like that's a good way to do it.
It is. And it's so affordable, too, compared to, taxis or private transport.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the Istanbul cart definitely.
Okay, Istanbul cart, it's noted.
Yes.
So we've talked about getting there,
Yeah.
getting around, but now I need to know, where do I stay?
Where to stay.
Yeah, like what are the neighborhoods I should be looking at?
Okay, so Istanbul is a city of neighborhoods. Each one has its own unique vibe,
Okay.
like a distinct personality.
Okay.
If you're interested in history, then Sultanahmet is a must.
Okay.
That's the historical heart of the city.
Yeah, that's where like Hagia Sophia is and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, Topkapi Palace, you're surrounded by centuries of history there.
Right.
So if you're a history buff, that's the place to be.
So that's definitely like you got to hit that up, right?
Absolutely. It's essential Istanbul.
But what if I'm looking for something a little more, modern?
Okay, so if you're into that modern
You know,
vibe,
like trendy cafes, art galleries, that kind of thing.
yeah, you'll love Beyoğlu.
Still.
Beyoğlu, yeah. It's a
Right.
bit more cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Lots of restaurants, bars, shops.
Got it. So that's where I find like that really vibrant kind of Istanbul nightlife.
Exactly. You'll find it all in Beyoğlu.
Okay, so we've got the historical district,
Yeah.
we've got the like modern trendy district.
Mhm.
Is there anywhere else that that I should have on my radar?
If you want to experience a different side of Istanbul,
Okay.
a little bit off the beaten path,
Yeah.
head over to Kadıköy.
Kadıköy. Okay.
It's on the Asian side of the city.
Okay, so it's like a whole other
It's like a whole other world.
world.
Yeah. Quieter, more residential.
Okay.
A lot of locals live there.
Okay, so it's a little more like authentic, kind of, less touristy.
Exactly. You get a real sense of what it's like to live in Istanbul.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed. It's really charming.
Okay, so now that we've covered the main areas to stay,
Right.
I need to know where do I go to get a good cup of Turkish coffee?
Oh, you're speaking my language now. Turkish coffee is amazing.
Right.
Yeah, and it's everywhere in Istanbul.
Okay, good.
You'll find these little cafes tucked away on every street corner, so
Perfect.
you won't have to go far to find your fix.
That's what I like to hear. So we're really getting into the heart of Istanbul here.
We are.
And this is just the start.
I know. There's so much more to cover.
Right. We could do a whole mini series on this, but for now, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to explore some of Istanbul's hidden gems. So don't go anywhere.
I'm excited.
Okay. So we've talked about the must-sees, right?
Right.
Like the Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, Topkapi Palace.
Yep.
But I'm ready to get off the beaten path.
Okay, well then let's talk about the Suleimani Mosque.
Suleimani Mosque, okay.
It's often called Suleiman's masterpiece.
Suleiman's masterpiece. Okay, so it's even more impressive than the Hagia Sophia.
It's considered by many to be more impressive in terms of its architecture.
Wow.
Yeah, it was built by this Ottoman architect, Mimar Sinan, in the 16th century.
Okay.
And it's just incredible. The way he used light and space, the intricate details, the sheer scale of the dome. It's awe-inspiring.
Okay, so where's this mosque? Where is it in the city?
It's in the Fatih district, and it's a little bit off the tourist track.
Okay, so I'm thinking that's why it's more of a hidden gem.
Right. It's not as crowded, and you really get a sense of its grandeur when you're there.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of hidden gems, let's talk about Istanbul's art scene.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Because Istanbul's contemporary art scene it's really dynamic.
Okay.
And the best way to experience it is just to wander.
Okay, so just walking around.
Yeah, through the streets of Beyoğlu.
Right.
And you'll find these murals splash across buildings.
Okay.
Sculptures tucked away in courtyards.
Okay, so I'm picturing an art walk.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, and then you have galleries showcasing cutting edge work from both Turkish and international artists.
Okay.
So it's a really diverse scene.
I like that. And what if I'm looking for something a little more traditional?
Well, for that, you've got to check out a Turkish carpet shop.
Turkish carpets.
Yeah, the craftsmanship is incredible. The intricate patterns, the vibrant colors, it's like art in itself.
Okay, I can see why people collect those.
Yeah, and they make beautiful gifts.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind.
And, while we're on the topic of art, let's talk about the art of eating.
Oh, now you're talking my language.
Istanbul has a rich culinary scene.
Okay.
And you'll find flavors and dishes that you just won't find anywhere else.
Okay, tell me more about what I should be trying.
Okay, so let's start with the classics, right?
Huh.
You can't go wrong with kebabs, they're the quintessential Turkish dish.
Right, okay.
And then you have mezes, which are these delicious small plates, perfect for sharing.
Oh, I love sharing.
Yeah. It's all about the communal experience.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's baklava.
Okay, I know.
It's like this symphony of flavors and textures, so flaky, so sweet, just delicious.
Okay, I'm ready to eat.
And for those late night cravings,
Yes.
Istanbul's got you covered.
Okay, good.
You've got rooftop bars with incredible city views.
Okay, I'm picturing it now.
And then you've got these traditional Turkish taverns where you can enjoy live music.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's a great way to experience the city after dark.
So I'm thinking, a little bit of a rooftop bar, a little bit of a traditional tavern.
Yes.
And maybe some mezzes to go with it.
Absolutely. And speaking of local experiences, you gotta try Narilio.
Nargile. Okay, I've heard of hookah.
Right. It's the same thing.
Okay, so what is it?
It's this like water pipe that you smoke flavored tobacco through. It's a big part of Istanbul's culture.
So like a social thing.
Yeah, you'll find these Nargile cafes tucked away in back streets along the waterfront. It's a really relaxing way to just hang out and socialize.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list of things to try.
You won't regret it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've
Right.
talked about, the must-sees, the hidden gems, the food scene, the nightlife.
Yep.
But there's one more crucial aspect of traveling to Istanbul that we have to talk about.
Which is?
Respecting local customs and etiquette.
Ah, yes. That's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, so what do I need to know?
Well, one of the biggest things is dress code.
Okay, so like what should I be wearing?
Well, especially when visiting religious sites, it's important to be mindful of modesty.
Right.
So covering shoulders and knees is a good rule of thumb.
Okay, so like no tank tops or shorts.
All right.
Okay,
Aw.
I'm getting it. What else?
And in some cases, you may need to cover your head as well. Like if you're entering a mosque, it's a sign of respect.
Okay, so like I should bring a headscarf just in case.
It's a good idea to be prepared.
Okay.
And, remember, Turkish people are incredibly hospitable.
Right.
So don't be surprised if you're offered Turkish tea or say.
Okay.
It's a gesture of welcome and friendship.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And another way to show respect is to learn a few basic Turkish phrases.
Okay.
Even a simple merhaba, hello, or teşekkür ederim, thank you, will go a long way.
Well, those are good ones. I'll definitely add those to my vocabulary.
And last but not least, Istanbul is a city best explored on foot.
Okay, I'm in for that.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to get lost in the labyrinthine streets of the Grand Bazaar, wander along the Bosphorus at sunset, or just soak in the vibrant atmosphere of a local neighborhood.
Okay, so I'm ready to wander.
You're gonna love it.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the things to do, the things to see, the things to try.
Right.
But like, what's the real magic of Istanbul? What's the takeaway?
Istanbul is a city that will captivate your senses, challenge your perspectives, and leave you with a profound sense of wonder.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
It's a city that will stay with you long after you've left its enchanting embrace.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We've barely even scratched the surface, though.
Right. And like, I already know, like I could spend weeks in Istanbul and still feel like I haven't seen everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those cities you could visit 10 times and still discover something new every single time.
Okay, so for someone planning a trip right now, today,
Yeah.
what are like 3 things they should absolutely make sure like are on their itinerary?
Okay, 3 things. Let me see. Well, first and foremost, you have to experience the Hagia Sophia.
Okay.
I mean, it's cliche for a reason, It's,
Right.
like we were talking about earlier, it's this incredible blend of history, architecture, culture, all in one place.
And you can really like feel that energy when you're there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then second, you got to get lost in the Grand Bazaar.
Oh, yeah.
It's a sensory overload in the best possible way.
Okay, so like what should I be on the lookout for in the Grand Bazaar?
Oh, everything. Spices, textiles, ceramics, antiques. It's a treasure trove of unique and authentic souvenirs.
And like bargaining is part of the experience, right?
Oh, absolutely. Don't be afraid to haggle a little. It's all part of the fun.
Okay, so we've got Hagia Sophia, Grand Bazaar. What's number 3?
Number 3, and this one's important to me, take a Turkish cooking class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Turkish cuisine is so flavorful, so diverse, and there's no better way to really immerse yourself in the culture than by learning to cook some of the dishes yourself.
Yeah, and then you can impress your friends and family back home, right?
Exactly. You'd be like, "Oh, this is just my Turkish lentil soup, no big deal."
I love it. So we've got history, we've got culture, we've got like a little bit of adventure.
Right.
I mean, what more could you ask for in a travel destination?
Honestly, Istanbul has it all. I mean, history, culture, food, art, nightlife, friendly people, stunning scenery.
It's pretty incredible when you put it that way.
It really is. And you get all of that at a pretty affordable price too, which is always a bonus.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's definitely a city that, won't break the bank.
Exactly.
Well, this has been incredible. I feel like I've learned so much about Istanbul.
I'm glad to hear that.
And, for me, I'm already like pulling up flights.
Oh, I love it.
I'm ready to book a trip like tomorrow.
You won't regret it, I
To
promise.
all our deep divers out there, make sure you check out the show notes
Yes.
for, all the links and
The
resources.
travel tips, we've got those deals we were talking about.
Yes, those deals. And who knows, maybe we'll see you in Istanbul sometime soon.
That would be amazing.
Until then, happy travels, everyone, and keep exploring.